Well, I hope it's quiet enough here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll do another video later, but I wanted to read out. Tommy's team posted a letter that Tommy wrote last weekend, and it's hard to read, but I'm going to read it out. So this is from Tommy in prison, and it was written last Sunday, a week ago, so before his prison move. So here we go again. It's Sunday night, 10th of June. The news of the amazing scenes yesterday in London are just filtering their way to me. But before I start on the positives of yesterday's demonstrations, let me first start with some negatives. Let me share with you part of my wife's letter I received yesterday. School rang me today before I went to work and said Spencer was really upset at school. To be honest, he isn't managing that well. He cries at every opportunity there is. His mate said to him, "I'm doing a 5K run with my dad." And Spencer said, "Well, I can't do it with my dad," and ran off crying. He cries himself to sleep, sleeps with your pillow and asks me 50 times a day, "What day is Dad coming home?" I can't even give him a rough date yet because you haven't been given any. Just have to keep telling him, it's not for long, nothing will change, and he needs to be brave to make you proud. He said to me last night, "I'm going to go and do something bad so I can be put in jail with Dad. At least then I will be with him." Back to Tommy. I'm not going to lie. Reading this broke my heart. The prison removed my wife's phone number over a week ago, so I've not been able to speak with my children. It also upsets me that in my son's head, he must think that his dad has done something bad to end up in prison. Before I sit and feel sorry for myself, I should put it into perspective. I'm away from my family for a short duration. Members of our armed forces' children must go through this all the time, which is why I admire the sacrifices they make, past and present. I'm not going to go too much into my case, as my appeal is just being lodged. What I will talk about is the difference you've all made to me. When I landed in this prison, I was truly gutted. Gutted about what my family were about to go through, gutted for those who I was in discussion with, who rely on me to tell their stories. I was also adamant I would be killed on this prison sentence. When I was leading the EDL, I was sentenced to 10 months in prison in 2012. I was separated from everyone for my own protection and kept on solitary confinement for 22 weeks. I believe this was because the government feared what may happen on the streets if I was murdered in prison. Lee Rigby was beheaded in 2013, and our government witnessed that a soldier can be beheaded and no one will really react. I was then sent to prison in 2014 for 18 months. I was literally fed to the wolves. I was lucky to escape alive, fighting my way through violent beatings at the hands of Muslim inmates. The government knew I could be killed and no one would really do anything. It was a sad moment for myself, realizing that if I murdered, my death wouldn't make much difference or change. I also realized my family would not be looked after and would go on to struggle for safety and stability. Oh, what a change 4 years makes. In the first few days here, I began to hear that thousands are protesting outside Downing Street. This was 24 hours after my abduction by the state. I was told your petition has 100,000. Then it's now at 300,000, and then 500,000. I heard people were climbing the gates of Downing Street. I thought the people telling me must be getting it wrong. They must be confused with our Day for Freedom demo. I was completely unaware what was unfolding outside of the prison was a worldwide Free Tommy movement. I was in danger my first day in this prison, housed with Muslim prisoners. Then something changed. I was whisked from my cell and wing and taken and separated to safety. I believe now this was the moment Lord Pearson spoke up about my safety. His actions could have literally saved my life. I then heard protests were spreading across the globe. I heard politicians, police and barristers were speaking out. I've heard so many people who have sat on the fence for years were now speaking out. To hear that 20 or 30,000 people travelled to London this weekend to stand in solidarity with me is an amazing feeling. I truly am gobsmacked at the reaction from the public. I feel so loved and appreciated. I received a bag of letters and emails every day. I read every one. I'm so grateful. I want to say a thank you to every single person who has supported me. I understand how difficult it is to speak out. I understand that many people have faced a backlash from friends or even from work for speaking out on my behalf, and I'm truly grateful to people standing with me. Free speech is not free when it has social consequences. I sit here happy that this sentence has backfired on the establishment, happy that the public reaction has sent a message of the consequences if they have me murdered on this sentence. I've said for so long that there will be a moment in our country. None of us knows what that moment will be, but it will change the direction of our nation. I think deeply about this, and for a while now I've been sure that I will be murdered for opposing Islam. A scary thought, but not as scary as thinking it will make no difference. Although now I sit here smiling with the belief that my murder would utterly start a revolution. I'm standing laughing out loud. That may seem mad, but knowing this is so satisfying. I've always said I'd sacrifice my life tomorrow if it would end the Islamic takeover of our beautiful land. Our battle is not as simple as against flesh and blood, but we battle a system, a corrupt system. Sitting here gives you so much time to think. We can no longer be looking from the outside in. We must involve our voice and our movement into politics. I have so many plans on what I want to do when I get out. To hear that Geert Wilders travelled and spoke in London is so exciting for me. When I started my activism, I looked to Geert and the life-changing decisions he made to speak out against Islam. He has been an inspiration to me. I can't list all the people I need to thank, as there are so many, but I know Alex Jones at InfoWars would be leading the shout for my freedom. I love him. He cracks me up. Gerard Batten of UKIP, Lord Pearson, Raheem Kassam, Katie Hopkins, my cousin Kevin Carroll, jumping straight in with that demo, Danny for organising it, Donald Trump Jr. for tweeting, haha. I'd have done 6 months just for that recognition. The list could go on and on. I'll do my proper thank yous upon my release. One person I have to thank, my wife. When I finally got through to her on the phone from prison, I asked her, have you had enough yet? I've not been a great husband, but she has been a perfect wife and an amazing mother. I simply couldn't get through any of this without my family. So, Jenna, if you are reading this letter online, then know I love you and I miss you. My mates will ruin me for this soppy shit. Lots of people say I give them hope, but I want you all to know that your reaction, whether it is been supporting my family, paying for legal costs, or even just sharing videos of events, you have all given me hope and an absolutely priceless feeling. Please excuse my handwriting, but my hand is killing me. I'm using my time to put pen to paper and detail out my next book. I was already working on it before this sentence. Working title, The Battle for Britain. Basically bringing Enemy of the State up to date and also looking into the future. So I'd like to thank Her Majesty for giving me the time alone, on my own, to work on it. Knowing that there are more plans for demonstrations until my release is great. It's great to know that I've not been forgotten, and their attempts to silence me won't work. It's now Monday evening, and I've just watched Love Island. My wife's number was put back on the system, so I've spoke with my children today, so I'm less stressed and more relaxed. My children will come to visit me in the near future. Thank you all for the support. It's your outcry and reaction that will keep me safe. Please know how inspired and grateful I am. I'm hoping Lord Pearson and Gerard Batten will also be visiting me here. And lads, if you're reading this, ask Geert to pop into HMP Hull with you. My appeals have gone in, appeal sentence, appeal conviction and bail application. Oh yeah, thank you Pauline Hanson, and thank you AFD for the offer of asylum. The establishment thought this would close the book. Instead, the public have just turned the page to continue the next chapter. I love and thank you all. Mum and Dad, sorry about the stress I give you. Haha. Thank you to the free world. It's Tuesday. I'm being moved, prison, so my kids won't see me this weekend. And that's the end of the letter. I'm just going to pause for a second and explain what I'm doing. So I'm reading Tommy Robinson's letter from prison. This is Brian of London. I'm in Israel. I can't find a quieter place to be right now. and I'm reading a letter that Tommy's team posted on Facebook last night, he wrote a week ago in his first prison in HMP Hull.